Gosh, that was fun. That was fun to record. Yeah, it's like sometimes I see some of these and wait, what? Yo! Let's fucking go! Woo! Prevailing rank, baby! Woo! So, dudes, Zofia got a nerf because her pick rate's too high. Alibi got a 1.5 scope on her SMG. Yeah, I've been really working on a lasagna recipe. I haven't really done a crack at a bolognese sauce quite yet. This, I think, is I can work with this a little bit. I mean, like this. Oh, nutmeg. Nutmeg in a red sauce? Huh. Okay. I've never heard of that. You know, this looks okay. I think I'll try this later. Histogram time. Okay, here we are again. As you can see, just like the histograms we did in the previous video like this, both of the pick rates for attackers and defenders, if we put them in a histogram, the data is significantly skewed to the right. So that means that there is a very strong core of operators that get picked quite a lot. That's small in numbers, and then there's a crap ton of other operators that kind of get mixed up. This is the case a little bit more so for attackers because there's 17 operators, as you can see here, clustered over here that kind of get mixed up, and not so much, but still pretty prevalent on the defender's side, as you can see with the visuals. Let's start with the obvious. Zofia's pick rate is apparently pretty high. Apparently that's too high. Let's run an outlier test. Is it too high? Let's find out. Pick rate values for attackers. Zofia is a significant outlier. And the reason for that is because there are over half of attackers within the 0 to 16% pick rate range. So that's everything in this end of the chart. This is going to make anything on this end of the chart more likely to appear in an outlier test because it is more skewed away. It is more noticeably different than the data over here. The more data over here, the more data on this end of the chart is going to stand out because this part of the chart is weighing it down. Zofia's pick rate is noticeably high. It is noticeably high. It appears in an outlier test. It's very high. However, you guys might have remembered in the previous mid-season balancing notes matrices that we looked at, Ash was like a little bit over here. So neither Ash or Zofia have showed up in an outlier test. And then Ash got her R4C significantly nerfed, which is why a lot of people honestly played Ash, was because she was a very straightforward character. She had great guns and a gadget that was very useful for utility clearing, and she wasn't really that hard to unpack. You just run around and shoot, get out your thing, and then shoot it at something whenever you see a bulletproof piece of utility you need to get rid of. Zofia, very much the same way. However, and you know how I feel about this a lot of the time, most of the time, the gun nerf is not the solution. Zofia is basically, in the current meta, as they corrected it, they basically made Zofia a better Ash. She did the exact same role Ash did, just better, after they took away one of Ash's breaching rounds, and they nerfed her gun significantly. The only thing that Ash really had was her 3-speed rating, and that's kind of a negligible thing to point out. So, yeah, Zofia's pick rate, gonna be pretty high. What's the solution? Nerf the gun. Jaeger's nerf. Pretty much in line with the stats that we're seeing from Siege.gg in terms of his pick rate. You're starting to see a pattern. Get rid of util. Gadgets, they get rid of util. Zof, Ash. Frag grenades. Yana has frag grenades too. Starting to figure it out. Thatcher's ban rate. Again, Thatcher's ban rate is too freaking high. We need a Thatcher alternative that's not just Thatcher and isn't Callie. Please. Please. Mirror ban rate still pretty freaking high. All of you mirror mains, if you were a mirror main, okay, this is gonna hurt some feelings. If you were Mira main, and you saw the glass break changes, and you got mad, like you got really mad, they're like, oh my god, they nerfed her, I'm never gonna play her again. I have really bad news for you. You're bad at Mira. Most of your really good Mira spots are going to be from far away so that you can get longer sight angles to extend the sight as much as you can. That's how you're usually going to play Mira if you're playing her correctly. So yeah, the glass break changes, you know, they're useful. They give you some kind of counter now. You can't play as aggressively as you might have been able to before, but for the most part, Mira's still pretty good. Alibi got a 2-time scope on the ACS 12, got rid of the 1.5, and then the 1.5 got moved to the MX4. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. In particular, this should make Alibi more viable in roaming scenarios and appeal to players who are more frag focused. I'm okay with that. Alibi has always been a very niche pick in comp, and there are a lot of nuances to her gadget that, unless you explain them to somebody unless you play in comp, you probably don't know like half of the usefulness with Alibi. Because what you'll see a lot in comp is that Alibi will sometimes be brought out as a sleeper pick and thrown onto very common pre-fire spots in order to catch people off guard and then maybe get them tripped up by the Prisma. It usually, people won't like do mind games where they like hide in the hologram and then try to fake people out. That's not really common in high level play. Alibi has always been, to me, a really fun just ranked gunner operator to play. I don't think this will make her particularly overpowered. It's just a scope change. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Some people will probably prefer to use the holo on it anyway. Frost got her 1.5 taken away from her gun. Why? In her current state, Frost has the highest win delta of all the defenders and possesses a very high kill-death ratio when compared against other defenders. Okay, yes. Yes, her win delta is very high. What needs to be taken into account here, and this is something that's never been done with any of these charts, and I would very much like them to release this data. I don't know if they ever are going to, Ubisoft. What I would like to see is this kind of data weighed against different maps. We just had this little thing called the Siege Invitational recently, and I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's this really big tournament that only happens once a year. It's basically like the Siege Superb Owl. We saw Chalet at Invite, and we saw a lot of Frost play, because what happens with the Frost on Chalet, because Chalet is such a window and vault heavy map, and there are so many angles that you have to contest when you're on attack. When you go through a vault animation, you are caught between two things. You're basically caught in a crossfire between the Frost mat below you and the person who is aiming at you. There are a lot of situations where if the positioning is awkward for the attacker, you can't do both, right? You don't have two guns. You can't John Wick or the Matrix shoot the Frost mat below you with your pistol and then hold your rifle and then shoot the guy who's trying to contest your angle as you push in. So that creates an environment, that creates a situation where you cannot contest a gunfight because you have to look down and shoot the mat while you're going in through the vault animation, unless you have some kind of utility to clear it out. And Chalet is a map with a lot of vault prompts to get into the building through the window plays, especially on the top floor. So that's why Frost is pretty powerful on Chalet. That's a lot of the reason why her win delta is so high. I think it has a lot to do with that. And so far throughout North, I'm just going to use NAL Stage 2 as an example, but so far throughout this stage, Frost has a pick rate of 15%. That's not like particularly crazy high. Look again, Jaeger's over here, 79. Like, we keep hearing these talking points about operators. We keep hearing, oh, this operator has a really high pick rate. Oh, this operator has a really high win delta, low pick rate. Why? Why is that the case? And now, you know, an operator that I don't really feel like she needed to lose her 1.5. Because I don't think this is really going to change this much. I don't think this is really going to do anything. Like, yes, obviously it is a nerf. It is a nerf, and it will probably go down slightly because it is a nerf. That's just the reality. But is it going to go down a lot? I really doubt it. This isn't the only piece of the Frost puzzle, though. We know that her welcome mats play a role in her overall strength, but want to first understand the role her gun plays before deciding it will be necessary to shift focus to this utility. It's not the gun. It's not the gun. It wouldn't matter if she had a UMP-45. Castle is one of the most slept-on characters in the game right now. Just because weirdos in ranked don't know how to use Castle, because a good Castle strat requires coordination with your teammates, and usually people play more frag-heavy in ranked. Like, based off of this data, should we just get rid of Castle's 1.5 because he can hold lawn angles? It really, I don't think the Frost Wind Delta has virtually, like, yes, the gun helps, but that's not the primary reason why she's effective. Frost has a laser beam, but it's a very slow firing laser beam. It has a fire rate of 575. That is snail's pace slow. That is so slow for a gun in Siege. Tachanka got a deployable shield. Now Tachanka, both Tachanka and Smoke have a deployable shield. Ooh. Increase Shamika launcher total ammunition to 14. Wow. Goyo, Tachanka, Smoke. Good luck. Obviously, you would need, like, wall denial, usually. Maybe a mute. Maybe a Cade. Depends on the site. That's pretty strong. I don't think it's gonna make him too crazy on his own, but the little bit of Tachanka gameplay that we've seen, it's very similar to Wamai and Jaeger. It's very similar to Wamai and Jaeger and Comp, where usually Wamai is not by himself. He is a supplementary pick in addition to Jaeger, who brings a lot of gadget sniping, of a lot of frag grenade sniping, sometimes Capital Bolt sniping, depends on the site that you're playing on and the map. I think there might be some strategies where a Tachanka and a Smoke and a Goyo put together, it's not going to be the end-all be-all, like it's not going to be the meta, but there's going to be some sites where this might get brought out, and it's going to be really, really hard to deal with. Like the deployable shield. Deployable shield is the best gadget in the game, or secondary gadget in the game. Like it's so strong to have that ability to contest for long periods of time with intel, with those little slits in the shield, and take gunfights is very powerful. Modified M762 recoil, harder to control. Okay, let's take that phrase, harder to control. What does that mean? What makes it harder to control? Well, the vertical recoil was increased. Okay, that can be mitigated. If the vertical recoil gets increased, here, okay, let's go into a little rant. I'm not simping for Zof because I play Zofia. I am a fucking hard-stuck plat with a .88 KD. This is not a concept. Okay, talking about guns in this game is not a concept that people with crazy good aim, that you don't need to be a good aimer to understand this concept. All you console players who constantly have to point out that you play with a controller and the recoil stuff is different. I know! I get it. I get the concept. When you are a mouse and keyboard, the gun will kick up at a set rate. When the gun is kicking upwards, if it goes up at a set rate, you can eventually learn the rate at which it is going up. It doesn't deviate a lot, which means you can control the rate that it goes up by gradually pulling down on the mouse. And then that will counteract it to a certain extent. And then the only thing you really have to worry about too much is the horizontal recoil. I'll use this as to say, like, RNG. When a gun in Siege has high recoil, when people usually say, like Ella's gun is a really good example of this. Like, oh, Ella's gun, like, I can't control it. You know, it's just not that great at long range. It's not great at long range because the longer you get, the further you get away from somebody, the more that left and right kick is going to screw up your shot from far away. So that is the limiting factor. That is the difference between a gun that's better at fighting at close range and a gun that can fight at longer ranges. A gun that can fight at longer ranges with a really high rate of fire is going to be really good at fighting at close range too. That's what makes, for instance, the F2 so strong. That's what makes Kali's machine pistol so strong. High rate of fire, high damage, not that much recoil. It's good at everything. There are no situations in which it's not good. If the left and right recoil happened at a fixed rate, let's say every 3 shots, the gun deviates this much. And let's say on the 4th shot, it deviates that much. And then the 5th shot, it deviates that much. And then the 6th shot, it deviates that much. If this happens every single time you spray the gun, every single time, you can eventually learn to mitigate this by counteracting it with the mouse, by going like that, by going like that, by going like that, by going like that. You can eventually correct it to get it, you know, not perfect, but maybe like that. So to counteract vertical recoil, you just go into fucking T-Hunt and you just hammer out a couple of spray patterns for a little while, play against a bunch of bots, and then you eventually learn the correct amount of pull down to get the gun, the spray pattern maybe about like there. This is the kicker, right? So they say that the vertical recoil is increased. Vertical recoil can, for the most part, be mitigated because all you have to do is pull down. And you can pull down at a fixed rate. Horizontal spread will be stronger to the left. Okay, how strong? Is it random, or is it like at a fixed rate? So what they say, what's new about this approach is that while the horizontal spread will be stronger than other guns, it will be more predictable and with much less randomness. So people are just going to learn this new pattern, and then the nerf isn't really going to apply to anyone except like casual players. That's it. So what's going to happen is that people at the top of the food pyramid are going to learn this new pattern again, and then yes, the pick rate will decline a little bit with ranked because it's ranked and most people can't be fucking bothered. Most people don't care, right? But for the people that are going to put in the work, this isn't really a nerf. This isn't really going to do that much. This is what happened to Jaeger. This is what happened to Jaeger. They said his pick rate was too high. We need to nerf his gun. And then now look at him. 79% in stage 2 right now. I made a YouTube short. I went through all the pick rates for all of the current Pro League stages right now. Jaeger is still the most popular defender in competitive Rainbow Six Siege, even after the gun nerfs. Even after they increased his vertical recoil, because it's vertical recoil and you can mitigate it. And even if he had a UMP-45, even if he had a really bad gun, he would still be very popular because his gadget is very popular. Zofia is probably going to remain relatively popular because her gadget is very strong, and the meta is tilted around. Look at all these operators. Zofia, Sledge, Yana, Ash, Flores, Util characters. Her gadget will continue to be a draw. Hell yeah, it will. Hell yeah, it's going to continue to be a draw. But those looking for a more easy-to-use frag-focused attacker, okay, yes, it is easier to use because, you know, there's less practicing involved. We'll find Ace, Sledge, and Yana more enticing options. Okay, yeah, Sledge and Yana, sure, you know, more frag-focused. Ace is not frag-focused. The only frag-focused part about Ace is the fact that he has an AK-12, which I still, to this day, I never thought Ace should have had an AK-12. This is an example of too important of a gadget and too good of a gun. I never understood the point in giving him an AK-12. He should have got something like, he should have got something like maybe like IQ's Commando or something. He didn't need like one of the 2 best assault rifles in the game. And if you play Ace, if you are a frag-focused attacker, right? Like, if you're an entry fragger, and unless you're, like, trolling, right? Unless you're just, like, dicking around, whatever. But if you're a frag-focused attacker, and you're playing Ace because you're frag-focused, I need you to do me a really big favor, okay? I need you to go to your Steam account. Ready? Go to Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Go to Manage, and hit this button. Okay? Because I don't know what you're doing. I really... Why are you playing Ace for his AK-12? Stop it. Like bro. Recoil and scopes are not the end-all be-all to adjust this game. These pick rates are this high right now because there are not a lot of options for attackers to deal with the sheer amount of crap that the defenders have to put down. Passive utility that they set and then walk away from. I don't know if y'all think Flores is a good operator or not. Flores is pretty good. Flores is a pretty decent like pick rate right now. There are a lot of strategies where having a Flores is a pretty useful thing. Flores gets banned. Flores gets banned fairly, like a fair amount. He has a 30% ban rate in NAL Stage 2 right now because he's good at utility clearing. We got to figure out, like, what identity we're okay with this game having. Do we want it to be a gunplay-based game, or do we want it to be a gadget-based game? But I don't think it is gunplay-focused. I think it's gadget-focused. I think that if it was gunplay-focused, there are tons of operators that'd be a lot more powerful right now. Fuse has one of the best assault rifles in the game, and he hardly ever gets picked at all. I don't think he's gotten picked once yet in NAL Stage 2. Not once. Amaru with the G8. Where's Amaru? Where is she? Do you know? Does anyone know? Does anyone see her? And the knock rework has been ditched entirely. I'm not really sure. It was fun while it lasted. Not much to say there. Got a little bit more damage. TCSG 12 got a little bit more damage, which I think was fine. I think the TCSG 12 got nerfed a little too hard. But that's it. So it's a weird patch. The Alibi 1.5, like, you know, cool. Like that should be fun, I guess. Frost losing her 1.5. I don't think she needed to lose it. I really don't think this was necessary, especially on a character with a fire rate of 575. Like, if you're Chala, like Chala, right? Chala popped off with Frost on a Chalet game relatively recently. Okay, like this would be a lot higher if Chala was using a different gun, right? Like, Chala didn't get a 1.5 rating because of the 1.5 with 575 rounds per minute. Chala got a 1.5 because Chala is just cracked and crazy. Tachanka, interesting. I don't know if he needs a deployable shield. I think I would have picked one or the other. I think, you know, incremental change would have been better. Like, maybe just give him a deployable, or just give him more firebombs to shoot. I can see this being a bit of a problem in like a stackable set with Goyo and Smoke and Tachanka. I think there's going to be some sites where, like, especially Oregon basement, like, good freaking luck. I really just, I don't know, man. I'll hold my breath. M762 recoil is harder to control. Is it though? Is it really? Going to T-Hunt and then, like, learn the new recoil and then cool, like, it not that consequential. If you disagree with everything I said and you think that I'm a idiot and I shouldn't be giving balanced opinions, let me know. Give the video a dislike, share it with your friends, tell everybody how stupid I am, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Deuces.